Good afternoon, everyone. It's the Activated One, New Bright 10, breaking down why is the Fourth Dimensional Council pushing snitching in the so-called black neighborhoods. Now, back in the 1940s, in the 1950s, when the so-called black race were starting to be um, uh, a factor in the economy, they had to figure out a way how to separate everybody, because the separation is where you can control and still remain in power. So who did they use? They used Martin Luther King Jr. Because after Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated, what happened? It was riots. It was riots. There was riots. Um, the biggest riot was in California. Was in California. So after that, what happened? So-called black community started to come back together after the riots. They started to protect their own neighborhoods. They started to police their own neighborhoods, being the sheriffs or the sheriffs of their own neighborhoods. So all this was already a plan for the separation. How did they start to separate? It was easy. It was easy. All you have to do is you have to have a product, and then you send somebody in the neighborhood where it's poverty at with the product and start the gangs. Start the gangs. Start to put your, I don't even want to use the word belief. Start putting your energy into making money and not worried about your community. So that's how that happened. So you send one cat over there to start the Crips, and you send another cat to start the Bloods. And then what colors did they use? Red and blue. They used the red and blue colors. So when the drugs started circulating and everybody started being envy and jealous of each other, then what do you do after that? You put the guns in the neighborhood. The guns were second. Because then it went from typical fist fights. You know, you get in a fist fight, you know, you might get beat up, you might beat somebody up, but you know, what's so funny when guys get in the fights, you know, it's kind of different than when females get in fights. When guys get in fights, you know, they might have a beer, you know, 2 days later and talk about the fight and be like, man, I was tripping, this and that. Females is a little bit different. They get in fights, they might hold a grudge until the casket drops, because they're more emotional. They're more emotional. So when these drugs were being pushed in these neighborhoods and the separation was being pushed, and they planted their agents, because they had to plant their agents. They had to complete the separation. The agents were planting. So then after that, then the deterioration of the neighborhood started. And in these movies, one thing about these new movies that they put out, the ones with the drugs, the gangs, you know, they stopped showing the downside of the narcotics in your neighborhood. Back in the day, they used to show it. In that movie, New Jack City, you know, they showed a couple of scenes where, you know, the babies, and he was trying to manipulate the children with money, this and that. You notice they don't show that no more. They don't show the downside. They always show the upside. They always show some Negro pulling up on rims with chains and, you know, with a whole bunch of people behind him. But they don't never show the mother sitting in, well, they don't know more. They don't never show the mother sitting in her house smoking or abusing narcotics with their kids in the house, with her children in the house, wondering where they're gonna get their next meal. The baby walking around with feces in his diaper, you know, hair all messed up. They don't never show that part, because they don't want you to see that part no more. They want you to see the upside, not the downside. And then some of these cats are going to say, well, I got to take care of my kids, this and that. That because you don't have a community mind frame. Because you're worried about your kids, which you're supposed to be worried about your children. I ain't going to say kids, but your children. You're supposed to be worried about your children. But you're not worried about the community's children. And see, that's why the so-called black race will never get out of the mind frame that they're in. They don't understand community. They don't understand coming together. Because this is a mental war. It's mental separation from these type of people. You have a barbecue. You let a murderer that just killed, his wife or his baby mom come to the barbecue, but then you let the snitch, you push the snitch off. You know why? Because you're concerned about destroying your neighborhood. That's why you don't want the snitch around. That's why you don't want him around. Because for one, if you can think, because y'all don't think, if see, y'all not activated, y'all not in this dimension, in the upper dimension. I'm going back and forth. That's what the term back and forth means. I'm in both dimensions. So when somebody encounters me, it only takes 1 minute for me to see the future of that individual I encounter. 1 minute. That's all it takes. That's why I have 2 cell phones, for that reason. Because if you give off a certain aura or energy, I'm gonna give you my direct number. If you give off a frequency of destruction, I'm gonna give you the other number. Because I'm still gonna do business with you, but you're not gonna have my main number. You're gonna have my other number. That's why I do that. So the reason why the fourth dimensional council is pushing for people to snitch is because they sick of it. They sick of it. They sick of it. They sick of the destruction in the so-called black neighborhood because y'all slowing down the process of evolution. That's why they're going to keep pushing it. They're going to send the intel down on this planet to keep pushing that because the future seeds have to come up out of the so-called black race, and y'all slowing down the process. Now, if you out in these streets, and there's multiple options that can happen to you. Multiple options. So when the police pull you over and you get caught up, you're like, damn, I got caught up. I gotta go do, a year or whatnot, because it's embedded in your head that can happen. Well, you need to have it embedded in your head that your homeboy sitting next to you can snitch on you too. That can happen too. So when it happens, don't act surprised and be all emotional. It's a part of the game. Don't y'all say that? It's a part of the game. Well, that's a part of the game, and it's gonna get worse because they sick of the destruction of the community, and it's gonna get worse. Anytime these cats that are out here in these streets and you get too big, there's only going to be 2 options. You're going to have to get down or you're going to have to lay down. Because a lot of these cats that's out here in these streets right now and been doing this for years and ain't did time, they working for the beast. That's what they working for. They working for the beast. You know what's so stupid? Their minds ain't activated, so they don't know. Just because a motherfucker come to you that look like you, doesn't mean that you're not working for the beast. So yeah, this is and you see it's the year 2020. I did a song. I'm finna be dropping, and I said in my song, after 2019 you'll see electricity happen. And I laid this song. I recorded this song about 2017, and I already predicted the 2020. I said after the year 2019, you'll see electricity happen. This is real. Y'all think it's still a game. Y'all think it's still a game. You know what I mean? The electrified ones, because the thing about the pushing the snitching is, like I said, they're sick of it. This madness, this savagery mind frame, being savages. Looking at music videos, and all you see is guns. You don't see no order, no order nowhere, just savagery. How do you think the solar systems were made? No Big Bang. How you gonna make something that's in order? Everything serves a purpose, and I'm gonna break down the purpose of the Saturn. These people you got a lot of these teachers out here that ain't receiving intel. They're receiving information. They looking for information in the libraries where the lies are buried. But I'm gonna break down the true purpose of Saturn. Everybody's like Saturn is Satan, this and that, this and that. They don't even know because they're not receiving intel. I'm gonna break down the true purpose of Saturn because Saturn serves a purpose for the solar system. Haven't got to that video because I've been so busy doing stuff, doing constructive stuff to move forward. But that's the reason why snitching is being pushed in your neighborhoods. The future ones got to come up out y'all. The originals. That's why I stay away from the regulars. I don't be around regulars. We call them Ragoos. I don't even be around the Ragoos. You know, I move around. I do what I have to do, and I come back home and watch my two Oreo birds outside attack all these crows. The Avatar too. This ain't a game. All the crows get the hell up out of here. So when you riding around and you and your partner sits down at that table with that investigator, spills all the beans, spills your location, spills everything, be mentally prepared. It's the activated one, New Brighton. I'm out.